When fate binds your legs with illness, do you choose to escape or confront it? Shi Tiesheng's The Temple of Earth and I is not just a personal essay on suffering but a spiritual haven for countless hearts. Why does this abandoned ancient garden bear a young man's quest for the meaning of life and become an eternal classic in Chinese literature? Let's step into Shi Tiesheng's world of words, follow his footsteps in the Temple of Earth, and seek the glimmers of hope amid suffering and the answers to life. 1. The Temple of Earth. From abandoned garden to spiritual sanctuary. At 21, Shi Tiesheng's legs were paralyzed by illness, confining his life to a wheelchair. It was the 1970s in China, before the dawn of reform and opening up, a time when society was slowly recovering from turmoil, and individual fates were often swept up in the tides of the era. Once a spirited youth with grand dreams, he was plunged into an abyss overnight. Anger, confusion, and despair flooded him, but Beijing's Temple of Earth Park, a desolate site once used for imperial sacrifices, became his refuge from the chaos. The Temple of Earth is no ordinary park. Built during the Ming Dynasty's Jiajing era, it was a sacred altar for emperors to pray to the gods of harvest for prosperity. By the time Shi Tiesheng visited, it had long been abandoned, its broken walls overgrown with weeds and rarely visited. As he wrote, "This garden is desolate but not decayed." This quality of desolate yet not decayed mirrored his inner struggles. The garden's silence absorbed his anger, its ancient presence carried his confusion, and its vitality sparked his thoughts. He wrote, "Sitting in this garden, with sunlight swaying in the breeze and tree shadows dancing on the ground, I began to wonder, what is the purpose of living? Why could the Temple of Earth become Shi Tiesheng's spiritual sanctuary? It was not just a physical space but a vessel of time. Ancient trees and ruined walls seemed to whisper tales of history's cycles, reminding him that personal suffering is but a moment in the vast river of the universe. This interplay of time and space lifted him from self-pity, prompting him to examine the essence of life. In 1970s China, society was shifting from fervent collectivism to an awakening of individual value. Shi Tiesheng's reflections in the Temple of Earth resonated with this era's undercurrents. His words were not just a personal monologue but a response to the spiritual dilemmas of his time. The Temple of Earth's significance lies in its universality. It is not only Shi Tiesheng's sanctuary but a refuge for every reader's heart. Like the German philosopher Nietzsche, who wrote "Thus spoke Zarathustra amid illness, seeking meaning in nothingness," Shi Tiesheng, on his wheelchair in the Temple of Earth, used his pen as a staff to measure the boundaries of life. Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." The Temple of Earth was Shi Tiesheng's crucible, forging strength from despair. The garden's spatial qualities are worth pondering. Its desolation is not lifeless but a vibrant silence. Shi Tiesheng described its paths. Small trails lead to every corner of the garden, like veins. These paths connected the garden's past and present, as well as Shi Tiesheng's inner world to the outer one. Wheeling along these trails, he seemed to converse with time and make peace with fate. Every tree and stone in the garden became his companion in thought. They were silent yet seemed to listen, ancient yet brimming with life. This natural inclusiveness gave him a sense of strength beyond personal suffering. The image of the Temple of Earth's desolation evokes the aesthetics of ruins in Chinese culture. Tang Dynasty poet Du Fu wrote in 8 poems of autumn meditations, "The landscape is like a painting, with misty green dampening one's clothes." The beauty of nature in ruins often serves as a vessel for Chinese literati to channel their emotions. Though Shi Tiesheng did not directly cite ancient poetry, his descriptions of the Temple of Earth echo this tradition. He wrote, "There's a locust tree in the garden, its branches spreading like a giant umbrella." This tree was not just a symbol of nature but a projection of his soul. Reminded him that even in desolation, life can flourish. The Temple of Earth's fusion of time and space is also evident in its historical weight. Emperors of the Ming and Qing dynasties performed rituals here, praying for bountiful harvests, lending the garden a sacred aura. Though Shi Tiesheng did not mention these rituals explicitly, he felt the gravity of history. He wrote, Every brick in this garden holds centuries of stories. This sensitivity to historical traces lifted him from personal pain to ponder grander questions. How does one find eternal value in a finite life? 2. Suffering. A journey from abyss to awakening. Suffering is the core theme of the Temple of Earth and I. Shi Tiesheng's paralysis not only robbed him of physical freedom but thrust him into a psychological abyss. He confessed, "I wanted to curse God." This anger at fate permeated his early days in the Temple of Earth. Yet the garden's desolation and vitality gradually guided him from cursing to contemplation. He began to ask, what is the meaning of suffering? Why do we live? Shi Tiesheng's reflections were not abstract philosophy but rooted in life's details. He wrote, "I often saw a couple in the garden, pushing their child with cerebral palsy, yet smiling. Their calm prompted him to reconsider the relativity of suffering. Their smiles were not numbness but an acceptance of life. From this, he saw that suffering is not absolute destruction but can be imbued with meaning." He wrote, "Death is not something to rush toward, it's a festival that will inevitably arrive." This seemingly calm statement reveals his profound understanding of death and life. This awakening was not instantaneous. Shi Tiesheng's journey mirrors that of Beethoven, who, nearing total deafness in his 30s, wrote the Heiligenstadt Testament in despair, yet chose to face his suffering, creating masterpieces like the Ninth Symphony. Beethoven wrote to a friend, "I will seize fate by the throat." Shi Tiesheng's reflections in the Temple of Earth were also a defiance of fate. Lacking Beethoven's musical genius, he composed his own symphony with words. He wrote, "A person is born, this is no longer a matter for debate but a fact God has given." These quiet words show his shift from resistance to acceptance. The meaning of suffering lies in forcing one to confront life's essence. In his wheelchair in the Temple of Earth, Shi Tiesheng repeatedly asked, "What is living for?" He offered no definitive answer but, through the garden's changing seasons and the sounds of insects and birds, felt life's resilience and continuity. He wrote, "The trees in the garden don't stop growing because of a storm." This observation of nature revealed life's tenacity amid suffering. Buddhist thought in Chinese culture also informed his reflections. Buddhism teaches that life is suffering, caused by attachment, and liberation comes from letting go. Though Shi Tiesheng did not explicitly mention Buddhism, his words reflect similar wisdom. He wrote, "I often feel a sense of fate in this. This fate is not passive resignation but an insight into life's impermanence." He began to understand that suffering is inevitable, but one can give it meaning through thought and action. Shi Tiesheng's suffering also reshaped his relationship with his body. Paralysis took his legs, but he began to walk in a new way. He wrote, "My wheelchair left deep tracks on the Temple of Earth's paths." These tracks were not just physical marks but evidence of his dialogue with the garden and life. He paid attention to every breath, every heartbeat, redefining what it means to live. He no longer sought a healthy body but pursued an intact soul. This reflection on suffering finds resonance in the life of Stephen Hawking, diagnosed with ALS in his 20s, yet producing works like A Brief History of Time with just a few functioning fingers and a voice synthesizer. Hawking said, "No matter how bad fate is, you can still choose how to face it." Though their experiences differ, both Shi Tiesheng and Hawking found spiritual freedom within physical limits. Shi Tiesheng's reflections in the Temple of Earth embody this freedom. His awakening also reshaped his view of time. He wrote, "Time is fair, it doesn't pause for your pain." This insight led him to cherish every moment of existence. Observing the garden's season's spring buds, summer shade, autumn leaves, winter branches, he saw that life flows and suffering is but a moment. He learned to find meaning in suffering rather than be defined by it. 3. Mother, silent love and life's pillar. In the Temple of Earth and I, Shi Tiesheng's mother is one of the most vital figures. Her love, silent yet profound, sustained him through his years of suffering. He wrote, "She always followed me so carefully, afraid I'd fall, afraid I'd get lost." His mother's image is not only a symbol of familial love but the spiritual pillar of his fight against suffering. Yet this love also brought deep guilt. He recalled, My temper was awful then. I often lashed out at her, but she never argued back, just quietly walked away. Her silence was an unconditional embrace. Shi Tiesheng noted that his mother would linger near the Temple of Earth, watching him from afar without disturbing him. She knew he needed solitude but couldn't let go of her worry. This conflicted emotion reflects the complexity of maternal love. He wrote, "I've never seen anyone so stubborn or so fragile." Stubbornness was her guardianship of his life. Her fragility was her powerlessness against his suffering. This portrayal of their relationship recalls Kate Adams, the mother of Helen Keller, who, despite her daughter's blindness and deafness, tirelessly supported her learning, helping her become a writer and speaker. Kate wrote in her diary, "I don't know if she can learn, but I know I must try." Like Shi Tiesheng's mother, Kate's love was silent yet steadfast. Shi Tiesheng's awakening in the Temple of Earth, much to his mother's quiet support. He wrote, "She gave me life and the reason to keep living." Her death was another blow to his life. He wrote, "She was gone, and only then did I realize how important she was." This simple sentence carries endless regret and gratitude. Her passing deepened his sense of life's impermanence and made him cherish each moment more. His reflections in the Temple of Earth shifted from personal suffering to memories of his mother, ultimately leading to gratitude for life. Her image also evokes the devoted mother archetype in Chinese culture. The Book of Songs says, "My parents, full of sorrow, labored to raise me." A mother's silent sacrifices often plant hope in a child's heart. Shi Tiesheng's mother was such a presence. Her silence was not weakness but a profound strength. She showed him that love can bridge suffering. The connection between his mother and the Temple of Earth is profound. He wrote, "She lingered near the garden, like a shadow." Her presence echoed the garden's quiet, both silently guarding him and guiding him toward meaning. He wrote, "She's gone, but the Temple of Earth remains, and it feels like she never left." This remembrance enriches the garden's imagery and imbues his words with emotional warmth. Her love also supported his writing. Shi Tiesheng noted that she was his first reader. She never urged him to write but quietly read each piece he completed. Her encouragement fueled his persistence. He wrote, "She never praised my writing, but she always read it carefully." This silent affirmation was more powerful than any praise. 4. The imagery of the Temple of Earth, a symbol of life and philosophical elevation. The Temple of Earth is not just Shi Tiesheng's refuge but the central image of the text. It carries the symbolic weight of time, life, and the universe. He wrote, "Every tree in this garden feels alive." These ancient trees, witnessing the garden's rise and fall, mirrored his inner journey. Swaying in the wind and standing firm in the rain, they symbolized life's resilience and continuity. The garden's blend of desolation and vitality reflects life's contradictions. He wrote, "Its desolation feels eternal." This eternal is not religious immortality but an insight into life's cycles. He observed insects, birds, and weeds following nature's rhythms of growth and decay. This lifted him from personal suffering to a sense of the universe's vastness and life's smallness. He wrote, "I often think every leaf in this garden has its own story." This attention to small lives reflects his reverence for existence. The garden's imagery also echoes his mother's presence. Her love, like the garden's trees, was silent yet resilient, guarding his soul. He wrote, "She's gone, but the Temple of Earth remains." The garden became an extension of her life and a bridge for his dialogue with the world. In the garden, he learned to listen to nature's sounds and his own heart. This imagery recalls William Wordsworth's Tintern Abbey, where the poet wrote, "Nature never betrays the heart that loves her." Both Wordsworth and Shi Tiesheng used natural imagery to express their search for life's meaning. Shi Tiesheng's Temple of Earth is not just a Beijing park but a sacred space for anyone confronting suffering. From a philosophical lens, the garden's imagery embodies the Chinese concept of harmony between man and nature. Taoism teaches that humans should align with nature's flow. Tiesheng's reflections in the garden moved from resisting fate to embracing it. He wrote, "I began to feel that living is about experiencing." This notion of experience aligns with Zhuangzi's carefree wandering, which speaks of a state of no self. Shi Tiesheng's awakening in the Temple of Earth was such a state, letting go of attachment to suffering and embracing each moment. The garden's imagery also continues the Chinese literary tradition of the garden as a space for emotional and idealistic expression, from the peach blossom spring to Dream of the Red Chamber. Though lacking the utopian hue of a peach blossom paradise, Shi Tiesheng's Temple of Earth serves a similar role as a spiritual haven. He wrote, "This garden makes me feel I'm not alone." This yearning for belonging resonates deeply with readers. The garden's seasonal changes are a key part of its imagery. He wrote, "In spring, the garden is full of new buds. In summer, tree shade blankets the sky. In autumn, fallen leaves carpet the ground. In winter, snow covers all." These descriptions not only capture nature's beauty but mirror his emotional ebbs and flows. Spring's hope, summer's reflection, autumn's melancholy, and winter's calm guided him to deeper awakening. He wrote, "The seasons cycle in the garden, just as life cycles through time." This insight into time helped him accept life's impermanence and find meaning within it. The garden's imagery is also tied to his writing. He wrote, "I write in this garden, my words uneven, but they are my heartbeat." The Temple of Earth was not just a place of reflection but the birthplace of his creativity. His words grew in the garden's silence, capturing his pain, hope, and awakening. Every tree and path bore witness to his writing. His work was not only a response to suffering but a tribute to the Temple of Earth. 5. Fate. A journey from resistance to acceptance. Fate is another central theme in the Temple of Earth and I. Shi Tiesheng's illness made him view fate as an enemy. He wrote, "I wondered, if not for this illness, what would I have been?" This questioning of what if dominated his early thoughts. But the Temple of Earth's lessons taught him that fate is not a matter for debate but a reality to face. His view of fate aligns with existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, who said humans are thrown into existence, and freedom lies in how we respond. Shi Tiesheng's choice in the Temple of Earth was to answer fate with words. He wrote, "I can't choose to be born, but I can choose how to live." This choice reflected his pursuit of freedom. He did not wallow in self-pity but transformed personal suffering into universal reflection through writing. Accepting fate was not passive surrender but active creation. In his wheelchair in the Temple of Earth, Shi Tiesheng wrote works like The Temple of Earth and I and Fragments from a Sickbed. His words were not only his salvation but an inspiration to countless readers. He wrote, "We don't live to live, but to experience." This became his summation of fate and a beacon for readers facing hardship. This view of fate recalls modern Chinese writer Lu Xun, who wrote in Call to Arms, "There is no road in the world. When many walk it, a road is made." Tiesheng's path in the Temple of Earth was carved with his wheelchair and pen. He was not defeated by fate but paved a road to hope for others. His view of fate also involved an understanding of impermanence. He wrote, "I began to see life as the wind in the garden, coming and going without a trace." This realization helped him let go of fixation on the future and focus on the present. Watching an ant, he wrote, "It crawls so slowly yet never stops." The ant's persistence showed him life's tenacity and taught him that fate's meaning lies in facing it, not fleeing. Shi Tiesheng's view of fate is also tied to his thoughts on death. He wrote, "Death is the other side of life, like the shadow of the Temple of Earth." This calm view of death stemmed from his deep understanding of life. He no longer feared death but saw it as part of life. He wrote, "Death isn't frightening. What's frightening is not truly living." This acceptance of death made him cherish each moment of life. His reflections on fate also extended to others' lives. In the Temple of Earth, he met ordinary people, a vegetable-selling farmer, a singing blind girl, a running youth. Their presence revealed life's diversity and richness. He wrote, "Everyone has their own Temple of Earth, their own suffering, their own path." This empathy for others' fates lifted him from personal pain to ponder humanity's shared condition. 6. Writing. An outlet for suffering and a continuation of life. Shi Tiesheng's writing is a vital theme in the Temple of Earth and I. His words were not just an outlet for suffering but a continuation of life. He wrote, "I write so my heart doesn't wither." In the Temple of Earth's silence, he penned his struggles, insights, and hopes. His writing was not only his redemption but a light for his readers. Writing was his way of conversing with fate. He wrote, "Every word I write is an answer to fate." His prose, simple yet profound, touched readers' hearts without ornate language. In his wheelchair in the Temple of Earth, he produced essays, stories, and reflections, each a continuation of his life. He wrote, "My words are like the garden's trees, living to grow." Shi Tiesheng's writing was also tied to his view of literature. He believed literature should not embellish life but reveal its truth. He wrote, "Literature is a mirror to see oneself." His words were such a mirror, reflecting the realities of suffering, love, and fate. His readers saw their own reflections and glimmers of hope. This dedication to writing recalls Franz Kafka, who, amid illness and loneliness, wrote The Metamorphosis and The Castle. Kafka wrote in his diary, "Writing is my reason for being." Like Kafka, Shi Tiesheng used writing as a weapon against suffering. Their words were not just personal records but profound reflections on the human condition. Shi Tiesheng's writing also embodied the spirit of Chinese literary tradition. From Ku Yuan's Li Sao to Du Fu's 8 poems of autumn meditations, Chinese literati have expressed love for life through words amid hardship. Shi Tiesheng's writing in the Temple of Earth carried this tradition forward. His work addressed personal fate and broader social and historical concerns. He wrote, "I write to make the world a little more real." The act of writing was also a process of self-healing. He wrote, "When I put these words down, I feel my heart beating." His words captured both his pain and his hope. Each piece he wrote in the Temple of Earth was an affirmation of life. His readers felt a warm strength, like a lamp glowing in the dark. 7. Conclusion. The Lessons of the Temple of Earth. The Temple of Earth and I is an essay about suffering, love, and fate, but also a philosophical work about how to live. In his wheelchair in the Temple of Earth, Shi Tiesheng journeyed from anger to awakening, from resistance to acceptance, completing a pilgrimage of the soul. His words teach us that suffering is inevitable, but we can give it meaning through thought and action. Love is life's pillar, powerful even in silence. Fate is impermanent, but accepting it is the start of freedom. The Temple of Earth is not just Shi Tiesheng's sanctuary but everyone's. It reminds us that in life's desolate garden, there is always a tree, a blade of grass, or a beam of light waiting to be discovered. Let us, like Shi Tiesheng, bravely face life's impermanence, listen to our hearts, and find meaning in suffering.